All right, let's just go ahead and get started. Might as well. I know your time's super valuable. So, hey, you get this one-on-one. This is great. So, um, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So, um, so this week we're going to, and also since you're by yourself, like feel free to chime in at any time, ask a question. I've got the chat up, but you can just interrupt me. I'm fine with that. So since it's me and you, and we'll run through this and then we should be able to get through it pretty quick because there's no one on here. So we can open it up for any questions you have about this session or anything else. Happy to do that. So, all right, let's get into staff systems. So this week, we're going to talk about defining staff systems. That's a huge thing. Now, Kat, do you have a team currently?
I do, but I'm a little like backward. So I have a team, but no admin. I just got like a virtual admin through Composite.
Okay.
And
Good.
that's it.
Okay. Yeah, no, that works. All right. So you do have a team. Do you have how many agents do you have?
It's 6.
6. Okay, awesome. So good, perfect. So this will be good. So staff systems, yeah, super important, especially as you're looking to grow, as you're looking to grow your team. It was honestly something that I was pathetic at when I first started growing my real estate business. I didn't think about it. I thought I could do everything. I was making money closing deals. So I was like, what the heck? Why do I need to pay someone else to do all this? Why do I need to get organized? But as I talk about often, that hamster wheel I was working on got bigger and bigger. And then it felt like I was on a Ferris wheel and I was working 3, 4, 5 times as hard to get deals done. And then that slowly started affecting not only my work, outside my work, my family, and everything else that I was involved with. So I knew, look, Tommy, if I want to grow this thing, even if I don't want to grow it, if I want to maintain where I'm at, one, for my sanity, I have to get systems in place. So we're going to go through some of the things that have worked for me, and then you and I can kind of chat about questions you have. But real quick, let's go through. It's always on a lag on this first couple ones. Next slide. Come on. Okay. Last week, your first hire. So, or 2 weeks ago, this talked about the admin, the nucleus of your business. If you're looking to hire a team, you definitely need an admin in place at first, whether that's virtual, whether that's in-house. You definitely need one. They both have their pluses and minuses. The virtual admin is great, I think, for starting out, kind of getting your feet wet, figuring out what works, what doesn't work. For me personally, I never did the virtual thing, but I see more and more people doing it. And I think it does help. It's less expensive. I do think at some point down the road, depending on what your goals are for your team, having someone in-house does make the most sense. We talked a little bit about the benefits of having your admin licensed through Compass. For me, that was one of the things I didn't want to deal with, the payroll, any of that. So she is paid through a percentage of all my deals, the team's deals, and that comes directly out of Compass through the closing statement. So I don't have to deal with that. So, all right. So let's get into it. So what are some benefits of systems, right? There's tons of them. One, they're going to empower your team. They're going to make you stronger. They're just going to overall put you in a position to succeed. Probably the most important thing, it makes communication easier, much easier. I'm a true believer that whether it's in work, in your business, whether it's in your everyday life, communication solves 99% of problems. It does. We talk about it. I talk about it all the time, but it's still one of the most difficult things for me, especially in business, because our business is so day to day. It changes with every transaction, every client, every price point. whether the interest rates are up or down. So it makes communication very tough to stay consistent with that. Systems are going to set your team up to grow. And then lastly, provide value to your team. That's huge. As you recruit agents, as you bring in agents, as they grow, maybe as they digress, they don't make as much money, they're looking for that value. We talk about that core four all the time. The support, the opportunities, culture, and brand. That's what they're looking for in a team. Systems are a way to provide some of that support for your team member, to put them on a path to grow. So it's huge for the value of your team. So, you might be saying, okay, great. This is all great, Tommy, rah, 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 rah. But how do I get started? Like, there's so much to do in my business on a daily basis. So I've got kind of back-to-back slides here that kind of work in tandem. But I think at first, right, you got to ask yourself what we've talked about in the past. Are you an artist or an operator? If you weren't on this call when I talked about that, your artist is the majority of your team leads usually. I'm an artist, right? I'm the salesperson. I like to be in front of people. I like to talk to people. I like to communicate. Your operator is more your systems person. You're structured. You've got your calendar in place. Your time blocking. You've got all that back end operation type stuff down. Might not be perfect, but you're much better at it than an artist. Now, the artist cannot be fully successful without an operator. An operator cannot be fully successful without an artist. So first asking yourself, where do you lean on that? Are you more of an artist or an operator? So that's going to help you get your systems in line. Secondly, I touched on it a minute ago. You've got to build your systems around your core four, what I call my core four: culture, brand, support, or opportunities. Because again, that's the only four reasons agents join a team. For me, a big thing for my agents as I recruit them is support. Most of the agents I recruit on my team are successful, but they've kind of either hit that plateau or they're burned out, or they're wanting to get into maybe luxury or a new price point. So I have built the systems throughout my team to provide that support to them to help them grow. It also leads to more opportunities for them. And then lastly, you've got to look at how is your team currently structured, because that makes a big difference on how your systems are going to be put in place. So a few weeks ago, we went over all the team models, like the Rainmaker, the traditional brokerage model, the expansion model, the partnership, all of that. So how is your team structured? You want to look at that. So what we're going to do is kind of go through real quick how my team is structured. Actually, that's the next slide. Whoops. All right. So ask yourself, what systems are best for me? After you've already looked at those three things, what systems are best for me? And here's kind of some tips and questions that you can ask yourself to help you get those systems aligned. So first, if you have any current systems, what do those look like? And another thing I want to add to that is, what currently is working well, and then what might not be working. So from there, that's usually going to expose your gaps. Chirag talks about that all the time. I like to talk about that all the time. I've actually gone through a gap analysis on my team and my personal business over the last 6 months, identifying where my gaps are in my personal business, not only for my team, but my personal business. Third, what the heck do you want off your plate? You hear me say it all the time. What do you like to do? What do you don't like to do in this business? If you don't like to do something, let's get it off your plate. You either need to delegate it or get rid of it. So what do you not like to do? The big question, what brings the most value to your business or to your team? Whether that's from the agent's perspective, the team leader perspective, let's just say for your team members, what is the biggest value that you provide for your team members for them to stay on your team? Kat, what area are you in of the country?
In New Jersey.
Jersey. All right. I love it. So, I know every market's different. I know here in Texas now the market has changed. It is no longer the unicorn market. So, on a plus side, you have agents that I think there's a big opportunity to recruit right now. I'm going a little bit off script, but because there are those agents that sold $5-10 million last year or 2 years ago, and it was easy, but now they're going to sell too. So they are looking for that support. They are looking for that core four. But on the flip side, you probably have some agents that are struggling. I know I do, and they're starting to question, is this the right place for me? Because when people start to make less money, unfortunately, the first thing they're going to do is look at their team leader, whether it's your fault or not. So figuring out what brings the most value to your business and setting up your systems that way would really, really help. And then lastly, keep things simple at first. Honestly, not at first. Keep them simple forever. But you've got to be able to adjust when needed. That is our business. Real estate is one big adjustment. I say it all the time. From the way I dress, from the way I talk, from the way I listen to clients, based off their age. Have I worked with them before? Are they referral? Is it a Compass referral? Is it a sign call? All of those things change in every transaction. So if you start out with some simple systems in place, those are going to put you on the right path. And then you can always add to those and adjust, because some of those things are not going to work for you. Some of them are going to be great. So it's a constant plug and play. I know it is for my business, and we're always looking to make adjustments. Here in a few minutes, we're going to kind of get into some new roles with my team that I'm implementing right now. And that's an adjustment for me. So. All right. So first, we're going to go through just kind of how my team is structured. That way, on the following slide, when we look at some systems, you can see how I built those out. So I have your typical traditional brokerage style. I went from a rainmaker system my first 5 or 6 years, where I was producing everything. And I just needed a couple agents to hand deals out to, because I didn't have enough time in the day. That transitioned, as I always talk about, as my kids got older. My wants, my goals, my needs, those changed. So time became more important for me. So I knew I had to get out of this rainmaker, I am everything, beat my chest model. Even though I probably make more money doing that, than looking at this traditional brokerage style, where I can leverage Compass and everything they provide and create a brand under them that provides a ton of value for my agents. So let's look at kind of how I'm set up. I'm the principal agent and the team lead. I still sell. I work with buyers and sellers. I would say 85% of my deals are sellers, probably 90%. So the majority of my deals are listings. Again, that's a time thing. Under me, I have my operations director / team administrator, Amber Farrell, who is a unicorn, right? She's been with me for 8 years. She started out as my assistant. She is now the operations director. She works directly for me on all my deals, all the paperwork, negotiations of repairs. She does a ton of stuff for me. She also works as the transaction coordinator for my team members, basically handles the basic contract to close, stuff that every agent is looking for. A new role that I just launched, actually October 1st, and a client experience manager. I just thought that was a cool name. But basically back to my gaps. The market here has changed. We went for years where I'd put a house on the market, whether it was 300,000 or 3 million, and it would sell in a matter of days. There wasn't, you had a 30-day close, you had multiple offers, there was no negotiations of repairs. It was boom, 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 boom. So I kind of got numb and used to that. But the last 4 months, and unfortunately it's kind of getting worse, I have 4 or 5 listings now that have been on for 90 days plus. And what I've learned is my gap is being consistent and staying in constant contact with the feedback with those sellers, keeping them up to date on what I'm doing on the marketing side, keeping them informed about open houses, all of that type of stuff. So I knew I needed a new role to bring someone in to help me with that, because again, I don't like to do that stuff. Honestly, I want to sell. I want to be out kissing babies, shaking hands, giving hugs. I can generate business. I know that's my strength. My weakness is all that back end admin stuff. So this client experience manager is going to fill that role. We're building out those tasks right now as to what she's going to do. But basically, she is going to handle the day-to-day communication with my clients. On Monday, she's going to send them an email summarizing what marketing we did, send them a list of all the feedback from the open houses, anything that pertains to the listing. And then she helps with client closing gifts, pop by gifts, all the stuff that I didn't do for the last 3 years because we didn't need to. So she's going to fill those gaps on those. Under that, finance/marketing coordinator, that's actually my wife. She is licensed. She doesn't sell, even though she's licensed. She absolutely loves the finance side of it. I hate it. So she keeps all the books. She tracks all our sales. But she also helps the team with small stuff. She creates brochures, listing brochures, postcards, all of that type of stuff on a case-by-case basis for the team members. Then lastly, I have 8 selling agents. They work with buyers and sellers, both. So, I'm always looking at those 8 agents and seeing what support that I can provide for them. So there's support in the finance and marketing coordinator sector. There's support in the operation and team admins director. The client experience manager now is just working. It's kind of a pilot. We're doing a pilot for this 4th quarter just with me and my deals to see how it works, gets the kinks out. And that might be something we might roll out to offer up to the entire team at some point. So. All right, team systems. So I'll share these with you, Kat. Again, when I do these, I don't expect you to digest everything and go, "Oh my gosh, this is perfect for my team." I know it's not. Okay, Hurston's sharing those on the chat. But these are all forms that I have implemented over the last years to help get in line. Some of them are super simple. Let me know, I don't know on these Google deals, if I click this. Uh-oh. Hold on. Is that opening, Kat? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. When I scroll, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is probably the best thing I've ever implemented into my team. Super simple. It's a Google form. So when either myself or any agent on my team gets a listing or a buyer, there's a listing form, request form, and a buyer purchase request form. This triggers the start of our processes. Super simple. I'm not going to go through everything, but you pick who you are, how much the commission is, what type of listing, the address, simple stuff, client name, contact info, list price, when's the listing agreement start, or when you want it to start, if there's a discount, why, the title company, do we need to order a sign? Does it need to be delivered? Is there Compass Concierge? Does Amber need to order the photography? If so, what date? All the way through. You can add any docs, a survey, anything pertaining to the deal. The minute she hits submit, that goes directly to Amber. That triggers her that she has 48 hours to generate that listing paperwork with our team introduction email and get that to the client via DocuSign. Now, sometimes they might want to sign in person, so we'll adjust. But I think you get my gist on that. So these are all going to become available. This really changed, and it's super simple. how our team operates, because paperwork would get lost in, it would become a battle between the agent and the admin. Well, I need this listing paperwork. I need it in 2 hours. Well, no. The minute you get a listing, this is the first thing you do. And everyone knows that Amber has 48 hours from there to generate the paperwork and send it. So it's really helped me out as my team has grown, because that is a simple system in place. It's like, this is how we operate, and everyone loves it. So I have that one. Listing Google form. Purchase, it's basically the same form, just modified for a purchase. Listing requests or operation tasks. So here's a step of what Amber is going to do for each agent during the process. During the listing process. Because of time, I don't want to run through all of them, but you're going to get all these if you'd like. Again, I don't expect all of this to work for you, but taking bits and pieces of these might help you. So that's the ultimate goal. So we have the listing operation tasks, and then if it's a buyer purchase, the operation tasks. And then lastly, the team member oh gosh, sorry, I got trigger happy there. The team member expectations. This goes along with our team agreement. I make every agent sign this at the end of the beginning of the year. We've talked about this before. There's nothing to do with sales numbers, but it's basically the expectations as a team member here. Basically, it has to do with, integrity, being a good person, being on time, showing up, just doing the right thing. This helps me as a team leader because they sign this every year, that if there are issues with that team member, I can go back and reference these because that is a weakness of mine. I don't like those awkward conversations. So this is kind of like a Band-Aid that helps me. So if someone's late to every meeting we have for 6 months, I can bring this out and say, look, like, what are we doing? You guys have read through this, right? Simple. This is all simple stuff to get you started. So you're going to have access to all of that. Feel free to use it whenever you'd like. Okay, so in 2 weeks, we're going to get in to recruiting top talent. This will be a popular one. I guarantee there'll be a bunch of people on this one. Kind of talk you through how to recruit agents. And then the following week, we'll talk about how you keep them, how you retain them. But all these sessions are kind of piecing together, as you'll start to see, because once you get your systems in place, that puts you in a position to go recruit top talent. So we're going to get into that next week. So, all right, what questions you got? This is
I guess for me, I've been struggling with the whole systems thing. So what is your advice? Did you just sort of like sit down one day and say, I'm going to write everything out that I do, and then you went back and you kind of tweaked it? What is the best way? Because I feel like I just kind of get stuck there.
Great question. Great question. And I said it in the beginning, and I'll refresh it too. Like, I am not a systems guru. I hate systems. Like, I am 1,000-mile-per-hour guy, but I knew I had to put something in place, or else, I already don't have hair, but I would have lost more hair, right? So, I think the best thing to do is one, and I'm going to go back to that one slide, but write out, like, start with a listing. Write out, and I know they're all a little different, write out what your typical listing looks like from start to finish, from when you get that initial call, all the way to the closing table. Okay. So then from there, literally just write them out step by step. Boom, 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 boom. It doesn't have to be perfect. From there, identify. And you got to look at it in 2 ways, one for yourself, one for your team. So let's just talk about for yourself, because they're both similar. But let's look at yourself. What of those tasks, like, one, what do you struggle with? what do you see needs improvement, and pull those to the side. And then also with that, you know, kind of what do you think you might not need to do? You can pull those out. And then what are the things you don't like to do? So those are all to the right, and you've got your steps. So then you're going to see your gaps in your business. So I know for me, my gap was when I started out and started this, like I would go get the listing, boom, boom, let's go. I was excited. Then it was like, oh gosh, I got to get the paperwork going. I got to get that sent over to them. Then I got to make sure I've got the photos ordered. I've got, you know, all of that, which was great. But I would spend 4 or 5 hours in the office a day doing that stuff. And that's not money generating tasks. So I knew I needed to get those delegated. So I just kind of built out what my day looks like if I got a listing from when I got that phone call. So I kept it simple in the beginning, but then as you grow and you get comfortable with it, then you start adding things. Like I never in the beginning had anything about like a pop by gifts or anything, right? I didn't care about it. Probably should have been doing it, but I wasn't doing it. So now, like on my systems, it's as detailed as for the client experience manager. When I get a listing, the day it goes live, the 10 closest homes around that listing are getting a small little box with a little note from me introducing myself, a one sheet about the listing, and a little $5 Starbucks gift card on me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you start out small, and then you can start adding things based off the market, how it's changing. But I think for you, finding out the most important thing that would benefit you and your time. And then secondly, looking at your team and seeing what value what on the admin system side, what things would benefit them, and building it out that way. But those documents you're going to get, those will help you a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough, but start out small. That's probably the best advice. Don't build out 20 things and just go into it. As real estate agents, as team leaders, we want to take over the world in day one. Trust me, I made that mistake multiple times. So that's why I like doing this, because I can share that. Start out with 2 or 3 things, just like I always talk about on the marketing side, you know, with client touches. Like, don't implement 10 things into your business on a weekly basis that you're going to do. You're not going to do it. You know,
Okay.
Start out with 1 or 2. I talk about video text, right? I think video texts are gold. No one does them. I don't know why. I had challenged my team to do 2 to 3 video texts to their sphere of influence a week.
Mm-hmm.
Could they do 50? Yeah, it takes 20 seconds, but they're not going to. So just start with 2, and then it becomes a habit, and then you grow from there. So same things with these systems. So.
Okay.
What other questions?
That was really it. I mean, I definitely have other questions when you get into the other topics in the next couple of weeks, but that's just one thing that I really, really struggle with. You know, I'm just so used to doing. And even with the team now, a lot of my time has been spent more like one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to, and that's time consuming, you know, that, and then I'm still doing business too. So I was just trying to figure out like a better way. So I know I need to kind of write everything down and do all that stuff too, but it's just been a challenge.
And this isn't going to get, I mean, my thought on that is you got to look at where you see yourself and what you want to achieve in like 3 to 5 years. Like, where do you see yourself? And that might change. Mine has changed for sure, like 1,000 times. But that will give you at least a little direction, because for me, it was, I want to be more of a leader. I get more passion and out of helping my team and seeing them succeed than me. Like, I know that's weird, but that's just me. So I knew I need to take things off my plate that take up my time during the day that involve my deals, but also figure out a way to still stay in front of that client so they come back to me. It's tough. So looking at what you're wanting to achieve now with your business, you know, that's where I think having the in-house admin is a huge role, because they get to know you. Most of my business is referral based, you know, it's past clients, friends of friends, the soccer coach, kids, it's my kids' school. So we have some type of connection. Might not be a direct friend connection, but a friend of a friend. So I think for my team, there is a ton of value. Like my admin, she knows the deal. She knows where the house is. She knows the people. She kind of builds a relationship with them. That's important for me. Now, if you're just checking off boxes on Zillow, off you know, deals, you're just random leads, that's different. So it really boils down to how you see your team, how you see your business moving forward, and where that business comes from. So
Okay.
All right. And if you have any other questions, I know they're going to kick me off here. So if you have any other questions, like shoot me a message offline. I'm happy to help you out or whatever. You can email me or text me or whatever. So
I will. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, Kat, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
One. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.